Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Manscaped. We are breaking down the playoff picture, which underwent some significant changes for Dallas on Monday Night Football. But as a reminder, 20% off and free shipping on all of Manscaped's top-of-the-line men's grooming products when you use promo code Cowboys at manscaped.com. Because of the Eagles' surprising loss to the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys are once again back at the lead in the NFC East, although that could change again next weekend with some tiebreakers that we will get into. But the Cowboys' playoff status went from, they're going to be on the road no matter what again, to, you know what? Maybe there's a chance they aren't. So are you feeling better after the Eagles loss? There was a brief, 24-ish hour period of depression. Maybe you feel a bit better right now. Sound off in the comments section. Y for yes, N for no. The Cowboys, tentatively speaking, are the number 2 seed in the NFC. They've got games against the Dolphins, Lions, and Commanders. And overall big picture, they could clinch the number 5 seed with a win or a Vikings loss this week. However, Dallas does not control their own destiny within the NFC East. In fact, they need help from Philadelphia to clinch that NFC East. In fact, any loss would actually significantly benefit the Cowboys, even if they themselves lose another game. There's a lot of convoluted scenarios. We will break them all down here on today's show. Many of you have asked about this, so feel free to share the video on social media as well. Think I've laid it out in a pretty easy to understand way. Now, the tiebreakers for two teams break down like this, and we'll focus, of course, on the Cowboys, Eagles, angles, elements of this. Head-to-head, Cowboys, Eagles are tied no matter what. So toss head-to-head out of the window, does not apply specifically for Dallas and Philadelphia. Division record, or specifically the winning percentage for division record, is why the Cowboys have the tentative lead. However, that would change if the Eagles beat the Giants in Week 16. Common games record, for the time being, is tied. There is the possibility of a change on that front. The conference record is also tied. Again, possibility of a change on that front. Then it would come down to strength of victory. There is a scenario in which Dallas can retake the strength of victory margin. It, however, does require the Bills to collapse, the Seahawks to basically win out, the Jets to win out, the Chargers to win out. It's basically a less than 1% chance of the strength of victory being flipped. Technically possible, but do not get your hopes up. So the Cowboys then need some help. They can actually lose to the Dolphins or Lions in Week 16 or Week 17 as long as the Eagles lose one of their games and the Cowboys come out on top. Eagles have 3 games left against 3 non-playoff teams, or I guess technically 2 non-playoff teams. Giants, Cardinals, Giants. We stand Tommy DeVito in this household at this point. So will the Cowboys win the NFC East? A for yes, B for no. We're about to break down all the different scenarios for Dallas, but this is the pinned comment of today's video. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there. A for yes, B for no. All right, scenario number 1. Let's say both teams win out. The Cowboys win out, the Eagles win out. The Eagles would win the division based on the highly likely outcome of strength of victory. Dallas is too many games behind in the differentials that it would be a bit of a shock for Philadelphia to lose that. It's possible, but you are not going to get your hopes up. And if it becomes more possible in Week 17, Week 18, we will revisit that exact scenario. Scenario number 2. What happens if the Cowboys lose to the Lions or the Dolphins and the Eagles lose to the Giants? Congratulations, Dallas. You are the NFC East champs. Reason why: the Cowboys have the better division record. Cowboys would have only lost to Philadelphia. Eagles would have had a loss to Dallas and to New York. All right, scenario number 3. Cowboys lose to Miami. The Eagles lose to the Cardinals. Cowboys win the NFC East here as well. The conference games win percentage goes in favor of Dallas in that scenario. It's another NFC loss for Philadelphia versus an AFC loss for Dallas. What happens if it's both NFC losses then? The Cowboys lose to the Detroit Lions. Eagles lose to the Cardinals. Dallas takes it back via the common games winning percentage because the Lions did not play Philadelphia. Then the Cardinals lost it, and it pained you so much, goes away all of a sudden. Dallas wins the NFC East. However, scenario number 5, we're kind of 5 and 6 here. If the Cowboys lose to the Commanders in Week 18, they are in big-time trouble. Eagles could lose any game and still win the NFC East. Reason being, if they lose to the Giants, well, they still win via strength of victory or / strength of record. It's all the same. In the event they lose to the Cardinals, well, the Eagles then have the better division record. So the Cowboys need an Eagles loss here, is what I'm saying. And even if they lose that, even if the Eagles lose one, Cowboys can still lose one and get the division as long as it's not against the Commanders. But take care of business, start winning some football games here. Now, today's show is made possible by Manscaped. It is the holiday season, and you want to make sure that your jingle balls are looking the best they can possibly look. Thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping on all their top-of-the-line, below-the-waist grooming products when you use promo code Cowboys over at manscaped.com. Again, if you want to have the insurance of making sure that Santa is not the only one coming this holiday season, make sure that you are using Manscaped. That might be over the line. I'm still not sure, but I'm going to keep doing it. I think it's funny. Manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys, 20% off and free shipping. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is the crown jewel of the holiday season and would be the absolute best stocking stuffer gift you could ever get or give this year. One more time, folks, links in the comments and the description of today's show. It's manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. Let's break down the playoff odds swings for the division based on what happens for the Cowboys. The Dolphins game isn't as impactful. Obviously still matters, but 45% chance to win the division with a win, 33% with a loss. Lions game matters a lot there because it's NFC versus, common games. That certainly makes sense. And the Commanders game, highly impactful there. Here are the NFL seeding odds for the Cowboys based on the New York Times Upshot Simulator. We'll get into the 1 seed and 2 seeds here more in depth, and borderline non-existent chance for the 1 seed. 29% chance of the 2 seed. It's actually gone up since last weekend's games. It's gone up despite the loss. 8% chance at a 3 seed. Less than 1% chance at the 4 and 6, although it is technically possible. It's also basically ridiculously unlikely. And a 62% chance at the 5 seed. So what seed will the Dallas Cowboys end up with? The 1 is technically in play. 2 is second most likely. 3 is third most, or maybe the 5 seed. They don't win the division. Sound off in the comments section. I do want to mention the number 1 seed scenario here for the Dallas Cowboys. It is important to note, you can go back to that head-to-head or that tiebreaker graphic, head-to-head. Dallas does not have that against San Francisco. They are already a game back. So Dallas must have a better record outright than San Francisco. Down by a game, they have to flip it into 2. They need a ton of help. That would start with the Niners losing to the Ravens on Monday Night Football. So that's the best team they play this season. Excuse me. And then, ideally, Week 17 against the Commanders to really help it out. It's highly, highly, highly unlikely. The most likely outcome, because the Niners can clinch it this week. They can clinch the number 1 seed if the Lions, Eagles, and Cowboys lose and they win. It's probably going to be San Francisco at the 1 seed. The playoffs are coming, and we will have more Cowboys videos for you all season long and into the offseason, of course, as well. Preview was going to go today, but I think playoff picture a bit more insightful and impactful given the fact that a lot of questions on just what the scenarios are. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Now, the most likely outcome if Dallas wins the division is they get the number 2 seed. There is that scenario we mentioned of the Cowboys losing to the Lions, winning the division. that would put them in the 3 seed, because beating the Lions or losing to them determines that number 2 seed tiebreaker. Otherwise, if you want to lose the Lions and still get the 2 seed, the Lions have to lose the other games on their schedule, i.e. get swept by the Minnesota Vikings, which would actually then bring the scenario of Minnesota backdooring their way into the division, into the fold, but also would require Minnesota to win out, and that's probably not going to happen either. So your most likely outcome, can you win out? If you win out, you got a real chance at getting that NFC East crown. Otherwise, you're going to need some help from Philadelphia continuing to kind of collapse down the stretch this season. Unconvinced it happens. All right, the Cowboys rooting guide this week. Obviously, Giants over Philadelphia. No explanation needed. Ravens over the 49ers. No explanation needed. Vikings over Lions to help out that potential possibility of sneaking your way in, even though you lose the Lions and still get the 2 seed to help out your home field advantage stuff. If you have a preferred NFC South opponent you either want to play or don't want to play between the Bucs, Falcons, and Saints, that's fine. I don't like rooting for those scenarios because I think that comes back to bite you. The bonus one is Commanders over Jets, a.k.a. Operation Keep the Good Quarterbacks out of the NFC East at minimum, since there's probably going to be at least one of those, that Drake May, Caleb Williams combination, if not Jaden Daniels too, coming to the NFC. We'll focus on the Commanders there, take down the Jets, and kind of take care of business and hurt their draft pick moving forward.